Hello and welcome to Now German. Guten Morgen, Sie.
Hello, guten Morgen, Gregor.
Sie, when did last time someone ask you for your phone number?
I think that happened like a week ago when,
Really?
yes, when you want to pay something, they want to ask your contact number, and you basically just on the website, you basically just input all of your numbers. But I can't really recall when someone asked my phone number via phone or like in person. Yeah.
Yeah, but still, we need to know how to talk about that exactly for the purpose you talk about, like credit card, phone numbers. If you are looking for a partner and you're trying to date them, one early stage is often to ask for their number. So there are many reasons to look at numbers. And so for today, we cover that in our dialogue. Let's look at that first.
Okay. Hast du eine Telefonnummer?
Ja, meine Nummer ist 076 123 4567. Und deine?
Meine Nummer ist 979 979 987 6543.
Danke, ich rufe dich an.
Super. Bis später.
All right, that is numbers. So let's look at the vocabulary and we'll look at the numbers right afterwards. That's our main topic for today. So the important thing we talk about here is die Telefonnummer.
Die Telefonnummer.
Yes, and you can guess from the name that is going to be the phone number. And in English, you also used to say the telephone in the past, and now everyone just says the phone. But in German, we stick with das Telefon. You can't say das phone. It will sound wrong. So we need to use the longer word. And then we just add number. And then we have du hast.
Du hast.
You have. And eine.
Eine.
Is feminine a. And meine.
Meine.
That is my in feminine or also in plural. And deine.
Deine.
Yes, that is your in feminine. And of course, they're all feminine here because die Nummer, the Telefonnummer is feminine. So that's why we look at that only in the feminine in this dialogue. And then the next word is exactly die Nummer.
Die Nummer.
Yes, the number. And then we have a verb anrufen.
Anrufen.
That is to call. And this is something new that we didn't see before. This is a separable verb. So this verb gets split into two pieces in many German sentences. And we'll not look at it in detail in this dialogue, in this lesson. But to make a present tense sentence, I'll call you, you have to say, ich rufe dich an.
Ich rufe dich an.
Which is I'll call you. And you see the first part an, which is in the beginning of this verb, gets thrown to the end of the sentence, if you will. But as I said, don't worry about it now, just look at it as a phrase. And then we have super.
Super.
That is great. And there is, of course, the English word super as well, like as in Superman. But in German, we just use it as a standalone word to say, great, wow, fantastic, super. Or if she did her German homework well, then I would say,
super.
Exactly. And then we have bis später.
Bis später.
That's until later. All clear?
Yes.
Okay, then let's go to our dialogue one more time.
Hast du eine Telefonnummer?
Ja, meine Nummer ist 076 123 4567. Und deine?
Meine Nummer ist 979 987 6543.
Danke, ich rufe dich an.
Super, bis später.
Yes. Be careful about two things. The first number in these phone numbers is always null.
Nun,
Yes, make sure it sounds not like neun. Neun means 9 and null means 0. Null.
nur,
Yes. And another tricky thing, später. Später, later, there you see there is only R in the end and not after the P. It sounded slightly like später when you say that, but there is no R after P. It's just später.
später.
Yes, perfect. All right, and now let's look at our highlight for today, and that is the numbers. So we'll go through them and I'll give you some explanations. We'll look at the numbers 0 to 20 today. And the good news is that there are a lot of similarities to English. So these should be not that hard to learn. So we have first null,
Nur,
and that is 0. And then eins,
eins,
that's 1. And zwei,
zwei,
2. And drei,
drei,
3. And vier,
vier,
that's 4. And fünf
fünf,
is 5. And sechs,
sechs,
yes, that's 6. Sieben,
sieben,
7. Acht,
acht,
that's 8. Neun,
neun,
9. And then zehn,
zehn,
10. And if you just pay attention to the sounds a bit and you look for the similarities to English, there are a lot of them. It sounds very, very similar. And if you pay attention in this case and in other cases, you will notice there are some consistent shifts between the languages. But let's not go into detail here. Then we continue with elf.
elf,
That is 11. And zwölf.
zwölf,
That's 12. And now it gets a bit interesting. We have 13.
dreizehn,
Yes, and if we look at this, 13 actually is 3, which is,
three,
and 10, which is,
10,
exactly. But they're just in the reverse order. So we just first say 3 and then we say 10. And that's actually the same as English, 13. Teen actually just means 10, right? It's just a different way to say 10. So that is
Yes.
actually also very similar to English. And it continues in the same way with 14,
vierzehn,
14, and 15.
fünfzehn,
That's 15. And then we have 16.
sechzehn,
Yes, and here be careful. We have the number 6, but the S drops out. So one letter falls out. 16.
sechzehn,
Yes, and 17.
siebzehn,
Yes, and as with 16, in 17 also, actually this time 2 letters drop out, the AN. We would never say 17, that's wrong, but 17.
siebzehn,
Yes, and then we have 18.
achtzehn,
Yes, and that is a bit of a sneaky one because we do write the letter T here of acht, but we don't pronounce it usually. I mean, you probably could say 18, but you will sound a bit weird, and it's kind of hard to say as well. You like need to make a pause. So generally we write the T, but we drop it. So it is 18.
achtzehn,
Yes, and then it gets easy again, 19.
neunzehn,
And our last one we look at today is 20.
zwanzig,
Yes, also kind of similar to 20, right? 20.
yeah, zwanzig.
And yeah, any letter that you think is especially challenging, or you think they're all challenging or all easy?
I think the elf and wolf are quite challenging because they are not following any rules, so you need to specifically memorize them. And I think Sibsen and Saxon because they are two or one letter dropped. So these are special case as well.
Yeah, makes sense. All right, but now let's go to our dialogue one last time so we can look at lots of individual digits.
Hast du eine Telefonnummer?
Ja, meine Nummer ist 076 123 4567. Und deine?
Meine Nummer ist 079 987 6543.
Danke, ich rufe dich an.
Super, bis später.
All right, and that was our lesson. Who are you going to call next?
Maybe friends.
All right. I'll leave you more time to think about it. And what you can do if you're looking at this lesson, of course, you can do the exercises that come. You can find them in the link down below this lesson, or you could also look up some of or you could try to actually write your own phone number down and then pronounce it in German. That would probably be a very good exercise. All right. Then we'll see you in the next one. Tschüss.
Tschüss.